Welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales. Tonight, I invite you to join me on an extraordinary journey. A journey that begins on a quiet, moonlit evening in the small village of Nandari, tucked beneath emerald hills and ancient forests. Our story centers on a young man named Aarav, whose 18th birthday is destined to change his life forever. Aarav had always been different from the other villagers, quiet, observant, and drawn to dreams more than daylight. He worked in his family's modest apothecary, carefully measuring herbs and listening to travelers' whispered tales. Yet, amid the everyday rhythms of Nandari, Aarav often felt as though he existed between two worlds, one of simple routines and another hidden realm full of unspoken mysteries. On the morning of his 18th birthday, his mother pressed into his hand a small, dust-covered box that once belonged to his late grandfather. "Open it when the first star appears," she whispered, her eyes bright with concern and excitement. Aarav nodded, curiosity fluttering in his chest like a captive bird. All day, he wandered through the apothecary's fragrant aisles, nursing a sense of anticipation that only grew heavier with each passing hour. As twilight deepened, he finally slipped away into their attic, a room brimming with jars of dried flowers, stacks of leather-bound journals, and memories that shimmered with faded gold. He found the box tucked behind an old chest, unlatching it with gentle fingers. Inside lay a moss-green compass, its metal rim etched with intricate symbols, spirals, crescent moons, and raindrops. But instead of the usual NESW, the face merely held a single arrow that trembled as though eager to fly. As soon as Aarav lifted the compass, he noticed droplets of moisture clinging to its glass, though the night air was dry. Puzzled, he closed the box and carried it downstairs. Outside, clouds gathered slowly, and a hush fell over Nandari. At precisely 8 o'clock, a soft patter of rain began, gentle at first, then falling like shimmering beads from an unseen canopy. But this rain carried no thunder, no harsh winds. Instead, each drop glowed faintly, as though lit from within. Aarav felt the compass pulse in his palm. The arrow spun, pointing not north, but deeper into the forest beyond his home. He hesitated, recalling old stories of a hidden cave where rain fell endlessly, even beneath clear skies. No one in Nandari had truly believed those legends, stories passed down through generations of travelers and dreamers. Yet now, under the glowing rain of his birthday night, Aarav felt a strange certainty. The compass was calling him to discover what no one else dared to find. His heart thrummed with both fear and exhilaration. He packed a small satchel, a flask of water, his grandfather's leather-bound journal, a slender knife his father had given him, and, of course, the mysterious compass. As he stepped beneath the curtain of glowing raindrops, he felt as if the world itself held its breath. With each footfall on the forest's mossy path, the rain whispered secrets only he could hear. A soft, melodic murmur that guided him onward. The forest, usually dense and dim, now glimmered in shifting hues of emerald and sapphire. Ancient trees arched overhead, their leaves dripping luminescence onto the path below. Aarav's pulse quickened. He was not simply walking into the night, he was stepping into legend. And so, under the ever-falling, otherworldly rain, the journey of Aarav and the secret of the rain cave began. Aarav's boots sank softly into the spongy forest floor, each step stirring faint ripples in the bioluminescent moss that carpeted the ground. The rain continued to fall. Gentle, luminous droplets that seemed to pause in midair before melting into soft pinpricks of light. Above him, the dense canopy of ancient oaks and silver-leafed birches shone in hues of emerald and cobalt, as if the forest itself were alive with a gentle heartbeat. He clutched the compass tightly, feeling its arrow quiver and point ever deeper into the heart of the woodland. The familiar scents of damp earth and lavender mingled with something new, an elusive sweetness, like honey laced with moonlight. The trees whispered in hushed tones, their branches swaying with purpose, as though guiding him forward. After 20 minutes of winding through narrow gullies and ducking beneath low-hanging branches, Aarav noticed a faint glow ahead. The trees opened onto a small clearing, where an enormous stone arch stood, half buried in moss and ivy. Underneath this natural gateway, Rain cascaded from invisible heights, painting the arch in shimmering droplets. The air pulsed with quiet energy, and the compass needle quivered wildly, pointing straight through the archway. Heart pounding, Aarav stepped forward. With each stride, the raindrops grew larger and the glow intensified, transforming from soft green to luminous teal. As he passed beneath the arch, he felt a gentle warmth wash over him, as though stepping into a dream made real. Before him lay the fabled rain cave, its entrance yawning wide, like the mouth of a sleeping giant. Water ran down its dark walls in endless rivulets, pooling at the entrance and reflecting the soft glow of countless bioluminescent fungi. A passage stretched into darkness beyond the entrance, lit only by the faint shimmer of the rain. Stones polished smooth by centuries of water led into the cavern's depths. The air was cool, but not cold, like a cradle that welcomed him. Aarav took a steadying breath and stepped inside, each footfall echoing softly against the wet stone. As he ventured deeper, the glow shifted from teal to deeper shades of sapphire. Tiny mushrooms, glowing like stars embedded in the rock, dotted the cavern's walls. In the distance, he heard the gentle rush of water striking a hidden pool. The hush of the rain above blended with the sound of his own heartbeat, creating a rhythm both calming and urgent. Suddenly, the cavern opened into a vast chamber, and Aarav paused to drink in the sight. Above him, the ceiling soared beyond view, a tapestry of dripping stalactites that glowed with an almost celestial light. In the center of the chamber, a slender waterfall poured from a hidden ledge, its waters caressing the pool below in a steady, melodic hush. The pool's surface shimmered with concentric ripples, as though haunted by memories it could never release. At the edge of the pool, luminescent flowers, petals like translucent crystal, floated on large lily leaves. Their glow pulsed gently, as if breathing with the cave itself. The soft radiance cast dancing reflections on the walls, revealing faint, weather-worn carvings, spirals, crescent moons, and figures of silent watchers, their faces serene and knowing. Aarav's breath caught in his throat. He felt a presence, something ancient and watchful breathing through the stone and water. The compass in his palm warmed, its arrow spinning until it centered, pointing directly toward the waterfall's hidden source. Somewhere beyond the cascade lay the heart of the cave, the place where the dream energy gathered. As he stepped toward the pool, a sudden hush fell, a silence so complete it felt like the world holding its breath. In that moment, he sensed he was no longer alone. A faint ripple disturbed the pool's surface, and the glow of the flowers flickered as though startled. Aarav swallowed hard, his heart pounding in his ears. The mysteries of the rain cave beckoned him forward, and with cautious resolve, he took his next step into the unknown. Aarav crossed the smooth stones toward the shimmering pool, each droplet of water that slipped from his fingertips dissolving in gentle ripples. The glow from the floating dream flowers illuminated his path, and he realized their petals sparkled with tiny runes, symbols that shifted in shape like living frosting. He knelt to examine one more closely, brushing a petal with the tip of his finger. Suddenly, the cave stilled. The waterfall's constant murmur faded until only the faint hiss of dripping water remained. Aarav felt a gentle tug at the edge of his consciousness, as though the cave itself were breathing. He looked up and discovered, to his astonishment, that a soft figure stood on the far shore of the pool. A girl whose form seemed woven from moonlight and mist. Her hair rippled like liquid silver, and her eyes glowed with calm light. She wore a simple robe of pale blue that seemed to shift color with the falling rain. In her hand, she held a staff carved from smooth driftwood, topped with a pendant shaped like a crescent moon. "Welcome, traveler," she spoke, her voice a gentle echo that resonated through the cavern. "I've waited many lifetimes for someone guided by the compass to arrive." Aarav's breath caught. Who are you?" he whispered. "I am Aria, the last Dreamkeeper of this cave," she replied, stepping lightly across the iridescent stones until she stood just beyond reach. Long ago, the Dreamkeepers tended to the dream energy. ensuring dreams remained pure and nightmares stayed distant. But when the ancient protectors vanished, the energy weakened and the cave's magic faltered. Now, nightmares seep through the cracks and the balance shifts toward darkness. Aarav swallowed, recalling the twisting shadows he sensed earlier. You mean I must help restore it? Aria nodded, her luminous eyes reflecting both hope and sorrow. Yes, Aarav, the compass of storms chose you. Only one born under its guiding light can solve the riddles left by our ancestors and mend the weave of dream energy. But first, you must pass the test of the whispering pool. She stepped aside, revealing a smooth stone pedestal set at the pool's edge. Carved into its top was a spiral surrounded by raindrop symbols. Touch the pool's surface, she instructed, and listen to its whisper. The water contains memories of dreams, fragments of hope, fear, and longing. You must find the one fragment that carries the key to the first rune. Speak its words aloud, and the path will open. Aarav approached the water slowly. The glow from the flowers cast dancing reflections on his face, and for a moment he hesitated. The hush of the cave weighed on him, an almost sacred hush. Gathering courage, he laid both palms flat on the cool water. In that instant, ripples spread outward and a chorus of faint whispers rose. Soft voices speaking in different tongues, languages lost to time. A surge of emotions washed over Aarav. Joy, sorrow, longing, fear. He felt tears burn his eyes as memories, not his own, swirled in his mind. A mother cradling a child, a warrior stepping into battle, lovers parting beneath a broken moon. Amid the cacophony, a single phrase echoed clearly in his heart. When the rain falls, silent, follow the frozen tear. He repeated the words, his voice quivering. When the rain falls, silent, follow the frozen tear. The cave trembled softly as though acknowledging his words. The glow of the dream flowers brightened until their light became almost blinding. From the pool's center, a single droplet rose, suspended in midair like a suspended crystal. then fell in slow motion, shattering on the stone pedestal. Where it landed, a delicate frost pattern bloomed, etching itself into the rock. A single teardrop encased in ice. Before Aarav's astonished eyes, the frost expanded, revealing a hidden staircase carved into the stone wall behind the pool. Each step glowed with pale blue luminescence, inviting him onward. Aria's form shimmered as she watched, a gentle pride in her eyes. "You have found the first rune's clue," she said softly. "Now climb the stairs, and the next chamber will reveal itself. But be warned, the frozen tears path bears illusions of one's deepest regrets. Keep your heart steady and remember why you came." With a firm nod, Aarav rose and placed his foot on the first luminescent step. The cave's damp chill wrapped around him like a cloak, but he felt warmth in his chest, the flame of purpose guiding him forward. As he climbed, the glowing frost beneath his feet faded into darkness, and tendrils of mist curled around his ankles. His mind flickered with recollections from his past, moments of doubt, fears he had buried deep. For a heartbeat, the mist formed the face of his late grandfather, his eyes pleading. Then a second apparition, his own reflection, older and hardened, trapped in regret. Aarav closed his eyes, focusing on the memory of his mother's gentle smile and the way the compass had led him here. "I choose hope," he whispered, "not fear." With that, the mist dissipated and the illusions faded. The staircase concluded at a wide ledge, where a grand door of blue-veined stone stood, its surface carved with a cluster of teardrop-shaped runes shimmering with cold luminescence. Aarav stepped forward, hand trembling as he reached toward the central room. At that moment, the echoes of dreams awakened, and the glowing raindrops outside seemed to hush in anticipation. Aarav pressed his palm against the central teardrop rune on the stone door, and it glowed brighter before sinking into the rock, as though acknowledging his touch. The door shivered on hidden hinges and swung open, revealing a chamber awash in soft blue light. The air here was colder. Each breath formed a flicker of mist that hovered briefly before dissipating. As he stepped inside, the door sealed behind him with a hiss. leaving him alone with only the faint echo of dripping water. The walls of the chamber curved inward like the inside of a seashell, and every surface was veined with iridescent frost that pulsed in time with his heartbeat. In the center of the room stood a crystalline pedestal carved from ice, perched upon a dais of stone. Atop the pedestal rested a single, perfect teardrop of ice, glimmering as though it held a captured star. A hush fell, broken only by the distant drip of meltwater. Aarav approached, feeling the temperature drop with every step. When he reached out to touch the frozen tear, a gentle vibration ran through his fingers. Then, unexpectedly, the teardrop dissolved into a swirl of starlit mist that spiraled upward. From the mist emerged a figure dressed in robes of white frost. A young dreamkeeper who looked much like Aria, but with eyes filled with sorrow. "I am Kailan," the apparition spoke, his voice sounding like wind over ice. "I failed my duty long ago. I allowed fear to take root, and the dream energy fractured. Now you have come to restore balance. But first, you must face the trial of loss." With those words, the room transformed. The walls' frost melted to reveal a snow-dusted landscape under a moonless sky. A single path of crystalline ice stretched before Aarav, leading to a solitary oak tree whose branches drooped under the weight of snow. Beneath it sat a cloaked figure, a child, humming a lullaby that sounded achingly familiar. Aarav's breath caught as he recognized the melody from his childhood, a song his mother sang. He hurried forward, but the cloaked figure vanished, leaving only a blank space. The path behind him cracked, preventing retreat. High above, the wind moaned like a lost memory, and the oak's branches creaked as though sighing. Then the illusion shifted. He stood instead at the edge of a storm-tossed sea, waves crashing as though echoing his heart's turmoil. In the swirling mist, he saw images. His father's worried face as he handed Aarav the satchel before he left. His grandfather's gentle laughter echoing down the apothecary's shelves. And most piercing of all, his mother's comforting embrace before bedtime. Each memory glowed with warmth, then flickered as if fading. Aarav's chest tightened. He felt an ache of longing, as though everything dear to him would slip away. The wind whispered, "Choose between your memories or your mission." Tears welled in his eyes. He closed them and whispered to the winds, "Memories shape who I am, but I must protect dreams for others. I release my fear." The stormy sea vanished, the oak tree dissolved, and the snow receded. In its place, the chamber returned, icy walls glowing softly with renewed frost. Kylan's apparition stood beside the pedestal, nodding. "You have chosen sacrifice over despair. The frozen tears trial is complete." From Kylan's outstretched hand, a shard of crystalline ice broke free and floated toward Aarav. As it touched Aarav's palm, warmth spread through his body, and the shard melted into a drop that glowed like liquid starlight. The dais trembled, and the stone under his feet shifted, revealing a spiral staircase winding downward into shadow. "The second rune awaits," Kylan whispered. "Continue when ready, and may your heart remain steadfast." With that, his form dissolved, and the chamber fell silent once more. Aarav exhaled slowly, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Clutching the radiant drop against his chest, he stepped toward the spiral stairs, ready to descend into the unknown. Aarav descended the spiral staircase, each step lit by veins of frosted crystal embedded in the stone. The chill clung to him, but his heart glowed with the warmth of the radiant drop he received from Kylan. As he reached the bottom, the air shifted. The damp cold of the stairwell gave way to a gentle, echoing patter of rain that seemed to come from all directions. He stepped into a vast chamber whose walls arched high above, carved with cascading reliefs of rainstorms and celestial patterns. The floor was polished black stone, reflecting the glowing droplets that fell without origin. Their sound, soft and insistent, filled the space, creating a hypnotic rhythm. In the center stood an ornate basin of obsidian. Its surface held a pool of water that rippled as though stirred by an unseen breeze. Above the basin, suspended by chains of gleaming crystal, hung 4 delicate pendants, each shaped like a teardrop, each containing a tiny flicker of light. They represented the 4 elemental facets of dream energy: hope, joy, sorrow, and courage. Aarav sensed that to awaken the basin's secret, he needed to unite these facets. He approached the basin and dipped his hand into the cool water. As his skin felt the liquid's touch, the echoing rain seemed to whisper, "Remember the day the sky wept for joy and sorrow alike." Images flashed before his mind's eye, vivid memories of his village celebrating the birth of twins. Joy mingled with tears as villagers danced beneath real storms. Among those memories, he recalled his grandmother's words. Rain does not distinguish tears of happiness from tears of grief. It baptizes both in the same dance. Aarav withdrew his hand and spoke softly. Hope and joy can rise from sorrow, and courage can bloom in stillness. Instantly, one of the pendants glowed golden, hope's light, then drifted down to hover above the basin. He watched as ripples spread outward across the pool. Next, he closed his eyes, recalling a moment when he laughed beneath sudden rainfall, carefree and unburdened. The memory filled him with warmth, and the second pendant, joy, ignited in azure light before drifting down. Its glow joined hope's above the basin, and the water's ripples coalesced into concentric orbs of gentle luminance. Then came sorrow. Aarav remembered the day his grandfather passed away. He had held the compass in his trembling hands, tears mingling with rain that fell outside the apothecary's window. His heart ached with the memory, but he spoke it aloud. From sorrow, we learn to cherish every breath. The third pendant, sorrow, shimmered a soft violet hue before descending. Finally, to summon courage, Aarav recalled the moment he first left his village alone, stepping into darkness for the chance to help others. He felt his heart quicken with resolve and spoke firmly. Courage is the spark that kindles hope. The fourth pendant, courage, glowed bright crimson, then drifted toward the basin. As all four pendants hovered in place, the basin's water began to glow, transforming from inky black to liquid starlight. The echoing rain intensified before fading into silence. The pendants merged into a single droplet of prismatic light. that fell into the basin with a gentle chime. Suddenly, the walls trembled. A hidden doorway slid open to reveal a narrow passage lined with ancient mirrors that reflected not Aarav's image, but visions of the dream energy, fractured. A sky of fractured stars, nightmares creeping over sleeping villages, laughter turning to ash. Aarav shivered, but the warmth from the prism drop steadied him. Aria's voice echoed softly in his memory. Remember why you came. With steady breath, Aarav stepped into the mirrored passage, resolved to face the final trial and heal the dream energy once and for all. At the end of the mirrored passage, Aarav emerged into a grand domed chamber, its shape echoing the curve of a sleeping eye. Above, stalactites dripped in slow cadence, each drop landing in a central pool that lay immobile under a plate of translucent ice. Beneath the ice, the core of the dream energy pulsed like a heartbeat, faint at first, then growing stronger, as if sensing his presence. Yet swirling around the pool, shadows coalesced into shapeless forms, nightmares embodied. Their silent whispers crawled into Aarav's mind. Fears of failure, of forgetting the ones he loved, of being consumed by darkness. The air crackled with charged tension, a storm held in frozen stillness. The prism drop he carried glowed against his chest, warm and unwavering. Stepping forward, Aarav felt the weight of every choice he had made, choosing hope over despair, embracing both joy and sorrow, and finding courage in uncertainty. Each memory resonated through his heart, and he allowed them to bloom into a single purpose: to restore the dream energy and banish the creeping shadows. He placed the prism drop on the ice's surface. At once, the ice began to crack in delicate spider webs of light. The dream energy unfurled like liquid moonlight, swirling around the prism, bright and pure. The nightmares recoiled, hissing, as their forms dissolved into motes of dark mist. But one larger shape remained, a figure cloaked in black mist, its face a blur of shifting fears. Aarav's breath shook, but he spoke firmly. I am not afraid of you. I carry every dream and memory that gave me strength. The cloaked nightmare advanced, its voice a thunderless roar. Images of his doubts, moments he felt unworthy, flashed behind his eyes. Yet as it reached out, the prism's light flared, illuminating the chamber in gentle radiance. Aarav closed his eyes and whispered the words of every memory that had guided him. I am more than fear. I am hope. I am joy. I am sorrow transformed. I am courage born from love. His voice grew stronger with each phrase until it echoed throughout the dome. The prism's light expanded, melting the ice that covered the pool. Beneath, the dream energy burst forth, a cascade of silvery radiance that filled the chamber. The nightmare figure shrieked as it unraveled into whispers, then dissipated entirely, leaving only warm stillness in its wake. With the shadows banished, the chamber glowed softly. The pool's surface rippled, reflecting a star-filled sky that seemed to swirl within the stone walls. Aarav knelt at the edge and watched as the dream energy settled into a steady pulse, its light spreading through every vein of the cave. In that hallowed silence, he felt a presence behind him. Aria and Kylan's apparitions stood side by side, their forms shimmering with gratitude and pride. Aria's voice, gentle as rain, spoke. You have restored what was lost. The dream energy will flow once more, carrying dreams of hope and peace to every corner of the world. Kylan stepped forward, placing a hand on Aarav's shoulder. The cave will always remember your bravery. You are now its guardian, protector of dreams. Aarav rose, a soft warmth in his chest. He realized that though he had ventured into darkness, he emerged bathed in light. The rain cave no longer felt like an uncharted legend, but a living sanctuary of wonder and calm. Remembering his promise, he nodded and whispered his gratitude. As he turned to leave, the staircase he had descended earlier reappeared, bathed in gentle luminescence. With one last glance at the rejuvenated pool, its surface now calm and radiant, Aarav began his ascent. Outside, the glowing rain had ceased. The forest canopy glittered faintly with dew, and a pale dawn light crept over the horizon. Aarav emerged into the clearing, the compass now still but warm in his hand. He carried with him the memory of the cave's heartbeat and the knowledge that within every drop of rain lay the promise of a dream. That morning, Nandari awoke to clear skies. Villagers found Aarav standing at the edge of the woods, the compass hanging quietly around his neck. He smiled softly, his eyes reflecting the lessons of the cave. Though he chose not to speak of its wonders, each night thereafter, as he drifted to sleep beneath a starlit sky, he could almost hear the gentle patter of glowing rain, whispering dreams of hope, joy, and peace for all who dared to believe. Thank you for joining Aarav on his journey through the Rain Cave, dear listeners. If you enjoyed this bedtime adventure, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another dream-filled tale. Don't forget to share this video with friends or family who might need a little magic before sleep. And I would love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments how you liked the story. Which part felt most enchanting? Or what dreams it inspired? Sleep well, and until next time, may your nights be peaceful and your dreams bright. Good night.